What's up, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I want to show you a Glycine watch that I own, and I'll tell you, another YouTube channel, Time to Go Travel and Timepieces. I think had a review on a Glycine Airman, and I saw it, and it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, I've always wanted an Airman, and I've never really owned one, and I thought, you know what? Let's just get one. And I've looked at a variety of them and over the years, and this is the one I really wanted, and so I wanted to show it to you because it's kind of gone through some history with me here, and it's a little knocked up, but it's doing great. But I've learned a lot about it in that time too, so I want to show it to you. So first of all, this is a Glycine Airman 3840. Now, there are a ton of Airmen, and if you're unfamiliar with the Airman, it's not maybe as popular as the Rolex Daytona, or as iconic as some of those, but it is kind of the watch that Glycine is known for. So that, like the Daytona or the Omega Seamaster, or kind of some of those brands that have kind of their flagship model, or the model that was really original. The Airman was kind of the Glycine's early claim to fame, and they have aviator style watches, and the Airman was obviously meant for that, named for it. Now, a lot of them were much simpler. Now, this one is a chronograph, and a lot of them were not, particularly the older ones. But so they just had kind of a broad dial, kind of this outer bezel, and they were really great precision timepieces, and they look great. And there's just a ton of versions, not only in quartz but in automatics from Glycine, and on top of that, there's like all these strange, wacky, and wonderful versions, like the double 12s or the 24-hour, and what do you call it? Like I can't even remember all of the different things. So you can pick them up, and there's some limited edition versions which go for decent money, but I always wanted one. I thought it was a kind of a classic good look, and here it is. This one looks a lot like the other Airmen, some of them different sizes, but they're kind of known for this outer, stainless steel, brushed looking bezel here. In this case, this has a 24-hour ring on it, and I'm going to move it here because I moved it out of the way as I was playing around with it, and you can see here that the 24, as I was moving it back, the bezel is bi-directional, and that's by design. So it's not a diver's watch, it's an aviator's watch. And this really actually is a 3 time zone watch. So I like GMT watches. Well, you're going to love that 3rd time zone then. One of the ways that it works is kind of low tech, but we'll show it to you. It runs on an automatic movement. The Glycine, I can't remember what caliber Glycine calls it. It's like a GL118. I don't know if it'll say on here. But it's actually a Valjoux 7740, I think, chronograph movement. And in this case, you can see here that the rotor is like kind of copper tone Glycine Airman with the airplane right there. In some of them, I've seen that this is just kind of a silver tone, so kind of take that for what it's worth. Screw down back crown here, but obviously a crystal so that you can see everything that's working. And now this guy's been running for a while. And that's one of the things that I wanted to test out, because I don't really use all the functionality. 20 atmospheres, water resistant, 200 meters, so you can definitely get it wet. But I ran it because I wanted to do a review on this and share with you some of my thoughts. Now, polished case, we'll kind of get to the front here of the watch. Polished case, kind of a traditional style. You've got pushers here surrounded by some screw down pieces, right? But I don't know that they move, but they're kind of knurled pieces. The crown, the big crown right here, the Glycine kind of crown logo on it. You can see kind of this coin edge around the outer part of the bezel here, which is good for getting a grip on it. And then, as you can see, all of the markers are essentially kind of scraped into or carved into the bezel, and then color filled. Now, this one's seen a lot of action and is a little beat up, but a serious watch like this kind of can take a lot of beating, and it has good heft. It has really good heft. The other thing I want to show you here, and we will kind of cut to it in a minute, is that you can see that this does not use spring bars. It uses the screwed down pass-through bars for holding on watch band. Now, they're not usually that big, so you can use pretty much any watch band. This is an aftermarket leather watch band. I thought it looked pretty good here. I did replace the buckle with the Glycine buckle because it fit, so I did that. But they're not much bigger than spring bars, but they are a little stronger, and they're kind of more of beefier and kind of associated with a little higher end watch, but because of the way you have to put them in, they're kind of a pain. So I'm going to show that to you right now, and by the magic of video editing, this has actually happened a little while ago. Now, I like the idea of these because they're strong, but they are kind of a pain in the ass, especially for one person to remove. So you actually have to brace one side generally when you're loosening them up and tightening them, because it kind of rotates the whole bar and you can't get the screw out, especially when they're tightened up pretty tightly. So you have to kind of brace the one end and then unscrew from the other end. Alright, so you saw me replace the band, and this is actually the band that I replaced. This is another aftermarket silicone orange band. I actually thought this didn't look bad. It just, that's what I love about bands, is you can definitely change up the look, right? That gives it a really sporty look. It ties it in with the orange on the dial. I even have some bands that were black leather with orange stitching, and I thought I would maybe try that. But, I just kind of wanted to dress it up a little bit and kind of tone it down a little. Orange, I really like orange. Orange has kind of been in style for the last 5 or 6 years. A little bit, a lot of it, in different watches. I showed you a Tag Heuer, probably years ago at this point, that was an orange dial, and I like that. But I'm not really into a lot of orange, and so this kind of brought out more of the black, and the orange is a little bit of a flare, right? And so I kind of dig that. It also matches the GMT hand here, which we'll show you, but I love the fact that you can really change up the personality of a watch now with just a quick band. Now let's take a look at the dial here. You can see this. You've got 24 hours marked on this outer bezel. On the outermost chapter ring here, you also have 24 hours. That's a static bezel. You can see how angled it is, and then you have the flat dial on the back, and that's pretty much kind of the similarities between all the Airmen. They all kind of look like that. Some have, like I said, a double 12, where it might be 12 hours and then another 12 hours on 2 different chapter rings. This has a tachymeter on the inside ring here, which is kind of useful, particularly notable for speed types of usage, like flying. And then you have a date window right here. Date window dial is also color matched to the dial, which I really like. Makes it subtle, framed out in white. Glycine logo on this side, all painted on with Airman, and just a classic Airman look. I love it. It kind of bugged me for a while to have a Glycine and not actually have the Airman. So you can see applied markers with loom, at most of the hour markers, little block arrows, and you have pretty big loom not only on the hour and the minute hand there, but on those markers, so it is pretty easy to read at night, which is kind of nice. Now, you can see here, one of the things that this watch does not have is a seconds hand, right? What you're seeing here that looks like a seconds hand is actually the chronograph, and I actually started the chronograph earlier. I'm going to stop it here just to show you that's the chronograph. I'm going to restart it here because what I wanted to do is kind of explain, and it was going to be easier to show you these subdials here with the chronograph running. So I started it, and I can tell you, let's find out here. I started it a while ago. Let's start with the top. This subdial right up here, which has a little bit of texturing, you can see the rings there and kind of a flat white hand there, is a minute counter, right? So start the chronograph, get past the first minute, and it's going to start counting off minutes here, 1 to 5 to 10 to 30. Now it's a 30-minute counter, and so then you're kind of half an hour, right? And so what ends up happening is this hand is counting off hours. Now what you'll see here is the 1, 2, 3, right? And then you've got a 3 on the inside, and again slightly textured. Sorry, my fingerprints are getting on it. That subdial has slight texturing to it with an outer orange ring, which is kind of cool. A lot of them are just either the whole subdial is like a blue, or it's color matched to the dial. In the white ones everything's white, but so after this counts off twice, you get to 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and so on. And so this actually moves slowly as this is counting off. So actually, when you hit the 30-minute here, this should be right at kind of the half hour there. So you have a really long chronograph timer. So now if we look at this, and I will tell you 1, 2, so we get to 3. This is 6, 7. I started this about 7 hours ago. and 18 minutes ago, right? And that's totally accurate. I just looked at the clock because I was like, has it been that long already? Because I wanted to let it run and make sure we were getting both subdials working, and it absolutely does. So it's been running that long. I've invested that much time to get it working and to show you guys. So I'm going to stop it here because I also want to show you the flyback. So I'm going to reset it here, and boom, everything flies back. You can see, boom, flew back, that flew back, and the second hand flew back. And so it's really quick, and it can be used for accurate timing, I think, right? So that's pretty cool. Now let's get to the GMT. So we have, your local time zone hands, hour, minutes right here, and then you have your GMT hand, like a lot of GMT watches, right there. And so it's easy to set. And so that there is obviously your 2 time zones. I'm going to unscrew the crown here, screw down crown, obviously. And once you get it out, it hangs up there a little bit on that left thread. Right now we're in, oh, there it goes, winding. Okay, so there you can see the first position is date. I'm rolling it clockwise, and actually this position should be winding. There we go. I can hear it now. So the first position is date, clockwise it's date, and then counterclockwise we change the hour hand. And now it's going to jump every hour because it's going to align via minutes to whatever the local time is, right? So it's like local 6:35, and so what we're seeing here is that it's always going to be at the 35 minutes, so it's kind of nice. It's just going to jump hours, right? So that first position is date and GMT times, all right? So you can put that wherever you want. And then the second position, there we go, is going to be adjusting for your local time. Local time, folks, local time. So it's just as easy as that, right? So pretty nice. I really, really dig this. I'm going to actually have to set it back because I really, after busting out this watch again, I was like, man, this watch is phenomenal. I love it. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to wear it traveling because obviously local time and GMT time. Now, the thing is, you're saying, well, Pete, you just demonstrated local time, GMT time. How do you designate the last time? So let me go ahead and put this back in here. And so right now, let's say it's 6:10 local time. This is showing me it is 11:10 in my second time zone. You use this bi-directional bezel to set your last time. And you do it on the GMT hand here, but let's say I wanted it to be, I don't know, 4 something, 4:10. I would put the 16 down here at the 11 to represent a third time zone. So now I could say, hey, for me it's 6:10. In my preferred second time zone it's 11:10, but in my third time zone, which I don't know where these would be, but it's 4:10, right? So there you go, 3 time zones, all low tech. And then whoever needs to know 3 time zones, dude. I've never known anyone. But otherwise, I'm just going to put this back. Obviously, really solid clicks you could see there. So I really love this watch, and it's really nice looking. The size is perfect, 44 millimeters. It's a 15 millimeter thick watch. You can see there because of how thick the back is and the top. It's pretty thick, but size wise, 44 millimeters across. I think it's just a perfect size for daily wearing. Let me throw it on here and show you my manly wrist, which is about 7.5 inches, and how freaking nice that looks, huh? Perfect, man. I really like it, and with the black band, it kind of dresses it up. Looks pretty bulky and industrial, and very fashionable and formal, yet casual. So again, it's kind of like an every occasion watch, in my opinion. And a little bit of that orange, I just loved that. I love the blue too. I'll be honest, I looked at pictures of the blue Glycine and I was like, man, that looks great. But I've got some blue watches, and maybe it was just a little too bright. This one just kind of is a little bit more of a chameleon, a little more subtle, with just a little pokey in the nose with a little bit of orange. So I really like that. I mean, I hope you do too. This watch, you can pick it up. I think the retail on them is like $3,700, but shop around. You can find Glycines for well under retail. Kind of breaks my heart a lot, but I want to say, you can pick these up for about $1,800-$1,900. I may be totally wrong about that, but I think at that price point, it's a steal. There's a lot of watches in that price point, like Tag Heuer's. Like the Tag Heuer Dave Guetta limited edition watch, which I like and want. It's like a $2,000 watch, man. So what's up with that? Tag Heuer, just give me one. Anyway, so pretty cool. Love it. Buy it. Airman, traditional, flagship, no, it's what it's known for. I like it. 3840. Peter Von Panda out.